don't switch hands. You know, it'd be nice if we had a deep hole that was, you know, Brody. If we had a Brody Merrill, who could just switch back and forth, left and right. But at our level, even at the high school level, stay in your right hand. Make sure you're very good at whatever you do with the hand that you have.
So when I see other teams play, if I see hand switchers, I'm oh yeah, I get excited.
Because at high school, no one's good enough to be both hands and play defense. Play defense with one set of hands and go from there. Any others?
Tell you about upfield with your stick or not. Do you have a preference on that? What if you try to kick it outside?
Yeah, I usually try and have the stick in the same side as his stick. Is that what you're asking?
Well, no, like if Jim was coming downfield and you're trying to take away one side of him, but you want to have your stick upfield, or do you mind?
So if we're in the midfield and Jim's, we want to make him go alley, is that what you're saying?
Or if the guy's coming from behind, you want to have your stick upfield. Like there's different, I guess,
Yes.
philosophy on that.
Yeah, what you do, there's a lot of different philosophies. I actually just learned I was wrong with one of them. Petro told me in a video I watched 2 days ago that I was totally wrong, but keep doing it. I always think when you break down, when a guy goes one way or the other, so if I'm going, I always like to throw, especially if he's a split dodger, I always like to throw the hard poke and drop. Petro just told me that that's totally wrong and shouldn't do it, but we're going to keep doing it anyway. But yes, I always like to put my stick on where I don't want him to go. So if I want him to go this way, my stick is upfield, pushing him to where I want to go, and then I can follow and trail. Once I feel comfortable that I've got him going where I want him to go, then I can chop down on his hands.
And if he still tries to go that way, if coach breaks down the way he's teaching, he's still up. I'm going to make. You're already there.
Yes.
Could you do the same thing, but say that you're dominant left-handed? So how would you hold the stick if you're dominant?
So
left-handed?
it's a little. So if I'm a lefty going up against a lefty, lefty going up against a lefty. So if I'm coming in to play him, I just want to hold it straight. You don't try and get too crazy. Just hold it straight. That's a big enough deterrent. And then if he goes the other way, and he also working into my V hold, which is a pretty good hold. I don't want to get him in here. I can get a V hold right here, hand low. I got a pretty good base. Yeah, I wouldn't try and switch or move. Just keep it right here in your hand pocket. Just know that if he's going to go, you can sit and throw the stick that way and drop him and come.
And most guys are lefties. Now, if I'm right-handed, and you're
Yeah.
a left-handed defenseman,
Oh yeah.
it's easy.
So now I got you going boom, and then I got oh, you mean go that way? Yeah. So right,
Lefty defenseman,
lefty
great.
defensemen are great. Boom, going the other way. Defending the two-man game, I don't know if we want to get that technical.
How are we doing on time?
Oh yeah, how
It feels like we're
30 more minutes.
okay.
Are you guys going to address the any clearance drills in the team concept, or?
Clearing drills?
Yeah.
Yes, I would say with the new rules, a lot of the clearing stuff has gone away.
Okay.
Because of the no horns anymore, the quick restarts. We don't do a lot of clearing drills. We teach the guys where to go and sort of get there fast. So our number one rule, so no matter where right, let's say this is our defensive end, the ball here, the ball goes out of bounds or whatever. Our number one rule is for whoever is over to that side to get away from the box. Right? So we're just going to throw guys away from the box as much as possible, at least two guys up the alley, and then no matter how we set up, right, we're going to spread ourselves out, and this ball is going to make itself up and out away from the box. And we do practice that a lot. We do a lot of 6v6, roll the ball down, defense picks it up, and then we do our breakouts, hockey breakouts. So we don't actually do a whole lot of settled clearing. Jim, I don't know how much you guys do.
The first thing, the other side of that coin, the first thing I would do every week for when we got time to game planning was riding. Something I enjoyed. I thought we got a lot out of it, but with the new rules,
So tough.
you can't. There's no more settled rides anymore. It's just all scramble, and there's rarely very settled clears. It's mostly, as Coach says, getting to space and getting away from the box and working your substitution pattern is something we've seen a lot.
Even with the shot, if you pick up that ball pretty early and you're breaking away, usually you're going to have 1 or 2 guys wide. Two-man game. Let's see, what actually is the next slide? You want to go? Let's go goalies.
Let's make sure we get to
Yeah, let's get some more information.
goalies. Is kind of a pet peeve of mine. Most everything I learned was from Coach Tierney, Coach Metzbauer at Princeton with Scott Pacigalupo, who for my money is the best goalie of all time, if it's not Sal Ocasio. What I see a lot, the things that bothers me most, warm-ups. How many times, and maybe we've done it, or maybe we've seen other people do it, there's a coach maybe 12, 15 yards out shooting balls. Kids aren't seeing, no one's shooting from 15 yards out. Okay? The way the stick technology has gotten, the majority of shots are in the kind of mid-range, 8 to 10 yards, and then 3 to 5 yards. So your warm-up should reflect that, in my opinion. Okay? Start out, okay, basic spots, okay, 6, up, hip, hip, low, low, 5-hole, okay. 2 or 3 each, 2 or 3 each, 2 or 3 each from those different spots. Okay. When he's ready for live, shoot live from 8 to 10, from 3 to 5, off of passes. The next thing would be pipe to pipe, getting his footwork set, okay, going from, for a goalie, going from pipe to pipe. 2 steps, max. Okay, going from. I know there's differences of opinion on that, and that's fine. I'm wrong all the time, and my wife tells me that very often. I don't believe in having the goalie's foot on the pipe. And here's why. If his foot's on the pipe, look how big that window becomes. If he's off the pipe, now he takes up a bigger portion of the cage. The window for the shooter is smaller, and if a shooter wants to put the ball into that window, God bless you. Okay, that's a lower percentage shot. And what I like to do with goalies is take them out of the goal and stand. Okay. If you're too close to the pipe, look at that window you just gave up as a shooter. Okay. If you just step a foot length, 6 inches, okay, off the pipe, look how much bigger, much more net you take up. Okay. And then back to front. The other thing that I think we're seeing a lot, and in talking to Coach Holman, who's the goalie coach in North Carolina, who I think works a lot with Brian Doherty, the step in terms of save is pretty much gone in college. Okay? It's still there a little bit in high school, somewhat in middle school, okay? But steps, the traditional, step to the ball, Mike. You're not making that save anymore at the higher level you go. It's so much more about being in position and then reacting. Okay, I'm a big believer, some people in terms of arc, no arc, or the high arc, I learned at Princeton, to be 1 foot length above the goal line extended, to give yourself the most time to react. Bounce shots are pretty much gone now with the stick technology and the artificial turf. Okay, so why are you not a whole lot of need, okay, to do a lot to warm up your goalies with a lot of bounce shots. There aren't very many anymore. It's kind of gotten taken away, phased out of the game by the stick and the field tech. Okay. Warm up your goalie with shots that he's going to see, but put him in places, okay, foundationally, where he takes up the maximum amount of goal based on where the angle is coming from. Okay. Again, the switching sides on defense, I love it when we're going to in pregame and the other coach is, cranking at his goalie from 17 yards away. We're not shooting from that far out. He's not going to have to save. And to be honest, it's fun. It's more fun for them, and they're weird creatures anyway, those goalies. They like it. Hey, we're going to work on one-on-one dunks for 5, and we're going to dip and dunk a foot away. They shouldn't say it, but every time they do, it's a big confidence lift for them, and it gets them used to, okay, coach is a foot away from me, he's coming in to shoot. This is more goalie saying like, he's a foot away, okay, just match sticks. There's no stepping. Okay, just match sticks. Drive top hand over. Okay, get big. Kick out. Have some fun with it. But a lot of what I've seen and what I'm learning from one college game, and if you look at the college, what's a good goalie anymore in college? 10 saves, maybe 12. Okay. The days of Sal Lucasio, Scott Bacigalupo, 25 saves, they don't happen anymore because the stick technology has allowed the offense to place a much more efficient game. No one's taking bad shots. Look at Denver. You watch college. They don't take shots outside of 8 yards. Okay? They just don't. All their shots, and that's why year after year, they're up or leading the league in scoring. So goalies aren't seeing a lot of savable shots. So if a goalie, hey, 10 saves, 12 saves in high school or youth, that's good now. Okay.
Jimmy, just a consideration, us over in Gwinnett, we don't have any turf fields, so, when we're getting ready to play on either our field or another dirt field, we're giving our goalies bounce shots because, that's a great shot on a dirt field.
Yeah, if it's still, that was my big thing, is prepare them for what they're going to see, if there's one takeaway. I loved bounce shots. I don't get to teach it much anymore. Yeah. But yeah, that I was just trying to, if you're going to take away one thing, is prepare them for what they're going to see. And if they're going to see bouncers, do it.
Do you teach stick position for the goalie straight up and down or lower hand out?
Big thing, and I've kind of learned over the years, and just because they're such weird creatures, if you can kind of give them buzzwords for their stance. What I've seen a lot of, one of the two biggest mistakes I've seen as goalie in stances is getting too hunched over. Okay, and so with our Lubbock guys, I'll just say shower rod. Imagine if, I'll take the kid to the side, imagine if I put a shower rod up your behind and it went up your spine. That's how you should be in the goal. The other thing I'd say is I see a lot of goalies, partially because they get too low in their stance, the head of their stick and their arm is above their eyes. So I'll say, imagine you're a painter looking at your masterpiece with your thumb like that. And now put your stick there. And now I have my shower rod, and I have my painter masterpiece, and I think you're in a pretty good goalie position.
My question is really about the stick.
In terms
The
of
lower hand.
Oh, lower hand? Okay, I'm sorry.
Straight up or out on this hand?
I defer to the individual kid on that, and I would tell them if they're struggling to experiment with something else. Okay. My big thing, and I think it helps with the painter idea, is maybe a little bit forward, but not, if you're back here, now you're giving up a big window here. So painter here, but certainly not here.
Right.
But if anything, even or perhaps a little bit like that. But once you go further back here, if you're shooting on me, okay, I'm taking up a big window. Now I'm giving up a bigger window and making it even harder to get there. Does that answer?
Yeah.
Get what you wanted? Any other goalie? Yeah.
Jim, I would just say have them raise one. They are crazy. And the thing as coaches, like if a kid comes up to you and he knows how to play goalie, be careful what you try to do to change him. I mean, if he's a mess, you got to change him. But a lot of times, every camp they go to, everywhere, every practice they go, somebody's trying to teach them another way to play goalie, and it really that harms them. So if what they're doing is okay and they seem to know what it is that they're doing, I would say leave it alone.
In my opinion, you can be a very, Coach Rieger's son was an excellent high school goalie. Anybody who has the balls to step in the goal can be a good high school goalie if you stand in the right spot and talk. Okay. And talking, and the last thing we had for this, if a goalie's yelling, "Who's hot?" that's wrong. The goalie needs to be the quarterback telling the defense who's hot. I would submit if a coach is yelling to his team who's hot, we're losing the battle there. They should already know it, hopefully, but that's not their kids. Okay? But at least if the goalie should be the one to know, okay, Lou, you're hot, you're hot. If Lou's supposed to be hot and the goalie's saying, "Who's hot, who's hot?" and Lou doesn't know, that's not helping anybody. Okay? The goalie needs to be the quarterback of the defense. He needs to be commanding and saying, not who's hot, he needs to be directing. Okay, Mike, you're hot. Lou, you're too. I think that rhymes. I like things that rhyme. Any other goalie things? Okay, cool. Offense, just kind of big picture stuff that can fit in with whatever specific set that you want. My big thing is KYP. Know your personnel. Righties, lefties, inside guys, X guys, and a lot of times, and even for Love and Westminster, but as you go middle school and youth, who do you got to hide?
Whole team.
If it's the whole team. But I think, kind of balancing, giving the players the freedom and spatially of putting them in a position to succeed. Okay. Hey, and I think that levels is important. At the youth level, they should be, in the Buczek universe, required to experience both sides and to work on both sides. If you got a senior in high school who's all left-handed, he's never going, stop trying to force him, to do stick drills or shoot right-handed. He's never going to shoot that way in a game. That battle's over. But I think there's that kind of, from the youth level, do both. But as you go through middle school, JV-ish, and up to the varsity, there's got to be sometimes a realization of, hey, he's a righty and that's all he's going to be. And okay, let's put him in a position to succeed and only keep him on the right side in our offensive philosophy, or lefty as well. Okay, all right. Hey, this guy's a good crease guy. Okay, he can't move at all. You got to design an offense with a crease guy. Hey, we got 4 guys who are pretty slick. Okay, and we got 2 guys who, the coach puckers every time the ball gets near them. We got to hide those guys. And how are we going to do that? Are we going to hide them inside? Well, that's probably where the slide's coming from, so there's a little plus and minus there. Are we going to hide them, make them designated pickers? Okay. There's pluses and minuses to that. So either are they picking on the ball or are they picking off the ball? But there's different ways in the game to hide kids to give your team a better chance to win. And then in practice, we're trying to coach them up so that you don't need to hide them. And some kids, little Jeremy Garr, great stick work, came up through the AYL program, did a ton on his own. Dad, great stick work, horrible athlete. Look, crease attack in lacrosse is the only position he could play. He played on the field for like 2.5 years in high school lacrosse. Okay? And that's all he could do, but we set up a thing where he could do what he could do, and we didn't ask him to do things he couldn't do. Whatever style, 2-3-1, open set, a 1-4. I think my big thing is: are you playing 6-on-6 offense, or are you playing 1-on-6 offense? And this, I think, happens a whole lot at the youth level. I think it happens quite often at the middle school level. Okay. Get the ball to Johnny, and let's watch him. Okay. That's not fun. Okay. It's not fun for anybody, and it's detrimental not only to Johnny, but to everybody else. Where is everyone else going? Even when Johnny gets the ball, what's the pattern that everyone else is in? It can be as simple as, if you have a specific pattern, or if you just say pairs. When Johnny has the ball, Tony's going to pick for Mike. That clears space, okay? But allows the other guys who don't have the ball to have a plan of, I know I'm supposed to go somewhere, and if I do my job, and Johnny does his job and draws a slide, I might get the ball. It's hard, especially the younger you go. Hey, if I don't have the ball, this isn't interesting to me, this isn't fun. Well, if you could get the ball very quickly and have a chance to shoot, now it becomes more interesting to those kids. But the coaches need to give them a plan to stay away from hero ball, or showcase ball in the summer. And I think the high school coaches, we fight against that every time when a new year comes back, because a lot of kids, high school kids anyway, have spent a summer trying to show themselves, and they get a lot of selfish habits doing that. And we kind of, one of our challenges, I think, is to kind of bring them back into the team concept from the summertime. So, two-man games, three-man plays. Two-man games, as coaches are just getting to defensively, kind of more and more the influence of box lacrosse. Sadly, I think more and more of our kids in the lacrosse community in Atlanta don't play basketball. Doing the camp down at Georgia Tech for the last 11 years, the number of hands raised when I asked that question has sadly gone down and down and down. There are times where we get rained out, or for whatever reason, I'll take Lovett inside and we'll go play basketball. It's god awful to watch. I mean, it's bad in terms of basketball, but the concepts and the conditioning and the break from the routine and the fun are very. There'll be days we'll go in. There's sometimes we don't have a field with weather, so we'll go in a gym. We'll condition for 20 minutes. We'll play basketball for about 45 minutes. And then we'll play dodgeball. And then we'll condition again and be done. But the basketball concepts and the two-man game in terms of pick and roll or pick and flare, easily transferable to lacrosse. And then any specific three-man plays out of a timeout, end of a quarter, start of a quarter, first possession of a game. I think a lot of times those are good areas to do three-man plays. What I've found is if you try and involve more than three, now you got more moving parts in terms of a specific play. So I've kind of less is more, and if you can get three guys to run a play, the other three guys design some motion to take up or occupy, but three seems that's kind of personally something I think that anybody can do good. And as you rise from youth, middle school, high school, you have more guys who can execute those plays. At the youth league, you might only have three guys. Okay, let's make sure they're the ones being involved in the specific play at the end of the game, out of a timeout when we need it. Going through high school, you have more guys who are capable of executing those type of things. Questions on any of these type of ideas? Yeah.
Overall practice philosophy, how much time would you say you do all even versus uneven?
I'm glad you asked that, because I'm probably not going to get to that part of the stuff. I think one of the biggest mistakes coaches in lacrosse make is too much 6-on-6. It makes it about what the coach is telling you to do instead of the kids having fun and working hard. I don't think it's backed up by the math. when are most goals scored? Not on 6-on-6 offense. Most goals are scored, and I would challenge anybody to, if you have film or just in your mind's eye, go back to the last season you coached. When did our team score the most? And I would submit almost to a man, transition, broken plays, EMO, percentage-wise, okay, 50% is good. If you score 50%, you're not scoring 50% of your 6-on-6 if it's an even matchup. Okay? The least amount of percentage-wise time that you score goals is 6-on-6 offense. So why are you spending, arguably, most of your time on 6-on-6 offense? It doesn't compute for me. It's not as fun for the kids. So we spend more of our time at any place I've ever been doing transition, broken plays, how to play, pick up a ground ball, move it, bang, bang, stuff like flow type stuff versus, okay, you go here, Mike goes there, Lou goes there, coach sets a pick. Okay, I think one of my big things I've come to is 6-on-6 offense. I mean, you got to do it, okay, but 20% of practice, maybe 30. And just giving them if you watch Love It Play, we're almost comically simple, and we're just giving frameworks, skeleton frameworks of where to go to create space and move the ball. Does that get what you want?
I mean, about 10 minutes. So we'll, and
You got to get down and square away, ask that too.
Yes, we'll go over all the drills that we use in practice. Jim and I think, have our practices pretty much aligned. I don't spend more than 15 minutes in a practice with 6v6. We do a lot of things that teach the concepts of, trying to get everything down to a 2-on-1. That's essentially what lacrosse is. If you can get everything down, if you can get whatever you're doing down to a 2-on-1, you're doing something good. So a lot of the drills that we do try and get to those ideas. I don't want to, since we only have 10 minutes, in teaching defense, we do a lot of when we know who we're going to play or we have specific ideas. A lot of our defense, and Jim talked about a lot, the communication piece. Everyone should know how to communicate, and I'm sure Mike's going to talk about communication through transition. But in communication, in what we do is key. So in whatever defense that we're in, right, it doesn't matter where I put these guys. The goalie, as Jim said, is the one that calls out who's hot. Not if you're hot or asking the question, but telling a specific person. And then we know where we want to go. So if we know we want to push everyone down to the alley, right, we're going to set up so we know everyone, we're going to push everyone down the alley, and we're going to slide from the crease if that's our game plan for that game, or if that's our idea. So we do things of, okay, we don't actually play a lot of 6-on-6. I'll get these guys and we'll talk and we'll skelly through what we want to do. If we know that we've got a big lefty that wants to inside roll us, right, we'll talk about the coma drill, right? And we'll just work on making sure our defense is on the high side, pushing our attack back in and make sure we're good. So 6v6, we don't spend a lot of time on defensively. We talk through, and we'll get to all these drills, how to play defense. Main thing, communication, how you line up against the man. That's essentially our 6v6 defense, right? And then it sort of builds from there. So let's jump in. I don't want to go zone and jump and all that stuff. We don't have enough time for that. So the drills that we do to sort of incorporate the concepts that we talk about, right? There's a lot of drills up here. First one, we do 3 different 1v1 drills. And I'll sort of outline them here, and they're all for different reasons.
I would say, if you bring that up, whatever you want to do, if you're making sure it's simple, realistic, and fun, it's going to work. If you can keep those principles, keep it simple, make it realistic, something the kids are going to see in a game environment, and make it fun. Whatever you do, whether it's something like this, you make it up on your own, maybe you steal from somebody else, simple, realistic, fun.
And I think Don said it earlier, I wouldn't spend more than 10 minutes on a drill. Even if it doesn't look good, get off of it, do something else. Keep changing it up. Every 10, maybe 15 minutes would be So one of the drills we do, one for This is the 1v1, 2v2, 3v3, 4v4 drill. Is we'll start with the coach who has a ball, or all the balls over here, and then he'll throw it to one line, and they do a one-on-one. Right, so that group's in. That group will stay. So now we start talking about, there's still people here, but now that group stays. They can be anywhere here. Coach throws it to the next line, and they go. So now we're on a 2v2. These guys play, they stay. So now they can be anywhere on this field, and he'll throw it to this guy. And now we're coming in and we're playing a 3v3, and then he'll throw it to this guy, and now we play a 4v4. So the goalie has to communicate, the guys have to communicate. These guys can be anywhere on the field, so you're not looking at just specific places to go from or to slide from. They're all over the place. It's all a mixture, and we go from 1v1, 2v2, 3v3, 4v4, and then we restart the whole drill. So that teaches sort of man defense with our concepts of communication and how to come out and attack somebody and play good one-on-one / team defense. So that's one of the drills that we do for 1v1 stuff.
Coach, and you keep that all inside the box?
Yes. I mean, they might not. I mean, it might look like this. Something like that, or just outside.
Tuesday, two of my kind of personal faves, two of the only ones I might have ever set up. First one was a little crazy, White House down. Kind of April-ish, and we had kind of a long time before our next game. Kind of to prevent things from getting stale, I wanted to make something simple, realistic, and fun. And I took the defense, I started just with the defense, took a trash can, turned it upside down, put a cone on top. And then we're at the high school, so I walked by the PE and I grabbed 2 little dodgeballs. I said, all right guys, 4-on-4. Just put a cone in an area about from the wing line to the sideline, so it's about maybe 10 by 10-ish. 4-on-4 teams, full pads, and the defense has to protect the White House, the trash can with the cone. And the offense, the only way you can score is if you knock the cone off the trash can. You can pass it, so you're approaching, you're moving, you're sliding, okay? And I just watched the movie White House Down, so it's the nuclear device and the terrorists are diving. And so I did, I was like, maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. 20 minutes. And I think we played to 9 that first time. Okay. Go get water. Kids are like, that was awesome, that was awesome. And I'm like, Coach, was that like a sneaky way of conditioning? And I was like, yeah, I guess so too, because you guys went hard, and then we said, look at what you learned there in terms of approaches, in terms of being in a good help position, in terms of competing, okay, which I think is key. And then we did it with the JV. And it took a little while for them to get it, but they did it and loved it. And then we took it to the 7th and 8th grade. And it took us 10 minutes to explain what a good athletic stance was, okay, and how to be spatially in place. And I thought that was very instructive for me as a coach to learn. Okay? But once they got it, it's fun, it's realistic, it's simple. You don't even need sticks or balls. You can do it in a very small space, and it's